Hello, my little yarnivores and spiderettes. Fiber Spider back again with another tutorial just for you. And today, I'm going to show you how to crochet this lovely lacy stitch called the Pagoda stitch. Because, like little pagodas, we've got big clusters graduating up to little clusters, and so on and so forth. It's a really, really simple repeat. It's lovely, it's lacy, and it's perfect for a spring day, a jaunt through the park. It's absolutely lovely, for something, perhaps an accent scarf or an afghan or really what have you. And you can make this as narrow or as wide as you want to. Going to show you the repeat. It's very, very simple. And so for this piece, I used Red Heart Super Saver in a nice purple color. And for the example, I'm going to be using, again, Red Heart Super Saver in the colorway of Buff with a size I crochet hook, which is a 5.5 millimeter hook. You can use really whatever hook size goes with whatever yarn you like. I'm just telling you what I'm personally using so that if you want to duplicate the results, you can. And so without further ado, let's get started. Alrighty, row 1. So for row 1, of course, you need a base chain, right? Well, for this pattern, you need a multiple of 12 chains plus an additional 3 chains. So what I did was, for a nice substantial swatch for this practice piece, I chained up a total of 39 chains. So it was 3 sets of 12 for 36 plus an additional 3 chains. So whatever you do, it's a multiple of 12 plus an additional 3. And actually that's the same number of chains that I used for the purple piece that I showed before. So, all right, what we're going to do is we're going to start by doing 3 double crochets into the 4th chain from the hook. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. So right into that 4th chain. That's 1, 2, and 3. And this bit of chain that we skipped initially, that actually counts as a double crochet. So we have, technically speaking, a total of 4 double crochets to begin with. All right, then continuing right along, chain 1 and skipping 4 chains, 1, 2, 3, 4, going into the 5th chain, double crochet, and then into the next chain, another double crochet, like so, chain 1, skip another 4 more chains, 1, 2, 3, 4, into that 5th chain right there, 4 double crochets into that 1 chain, so that's 2, 3, and 4, and then into the very next chain, 4 more double crochets. And 2, and 3, and 4. So yes, it looks a little bit crowded, but it does work. See, we've got 4 in the one and 4 in the next. All right, then chain 1, and again, skipping 4 chains, 1, 2, 3, 4, into that 5th chain, a double crochet, and into the next chain, another double crochet. Okay, chain 1, skip 4 more chains, 1, 2, 3, 4, into that 5th chain, again 4 double crochets. That's 2, 3, and 4, and then 4 double crochets into the next chain. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Chain 1, skip 4 more chains, 1, 2, 3, 4, into the 5th, a double crochet into each of the next 2 chains. So I've got that one right there, and then one right here. So I got my grouping of 2. Then, see, we only have 5 chains left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So again, we do need to chain 1, and skipping those 4 chains, going into the very last one with a total of 4 double crochets, so that it's symmetrical with what we started, where it technically counted as 4 double crochets. Well, now we've got the same thing on this side. All right, cinch that up a little bit. And there you go. So your piece should look something like this. We've got our 4, grouping of 2, grouping of 8, grouping of 2, grouping of 8, grouping of 2, and grouping of 4. Now, of course, if you have a rather wide piece, there would be a lot more of these clusters to go across. But, this gives you a nice idea, okay? Okay. Now, as far as the number of multiples of 12 that you use, I used, as I said before, 3 multiples of 12. So I have 1, 2, and 3. Okay. And it creates 1 less of these pagodas. This will be a pagoda right here. So if you want a specific number of pagodas, that's how you can figure it out. You would need 1 more multiple than you would want as far as your number of pagodas. Okie dokie? Just to give you a rough idea. All right, so onwards to row 2. Alrighty, row 2. Regardless of the project, I always mix the 2 of them up. Okay, so to begin row 2, start by chaining up 3, turn the work. Okay, and this counts as our first double crochet, as I mentioned before. And so into the first double crochet right here, 2 double crochets into the first. That's 1 and 2. So down here we had 4 double crochets total. Now we have 3 double crochets total. That's important to keep in mind. Don't worry, we will do a repeat, no problem. All right, so chain 1 and double crochet into the chain 1 space right here. Okay. Chain 2 and double crochet into this chain 1 space right here. Like so. So we've got our cluster, chain 1, double crochet into the space, chain 2, pardon-moi, chain 2, double crochet into that space. And you need the 2 chains to go over the 2 double crochets. Again, that's something to remember. But don't worry, we'll get there. All right, so then we chain 1, and we're going to skip the first 3 double crochets, 1, 2, and 3, and into this middle one, okay, because we have our 2 groupings of 4, right? Well, into the 4th of this first grouping right here, 3 double crochets. It's 2 and 3, and then into the very next double crochet, which is the first of the next grouping of 4, another 3 double crochets. So we went from a total of 8 down to 6. And again, it's focused at the very top of our cluster, okay? Our pagoda is going upwards, all right? So then, chain 1, double crochet into this chain 1 space right here. And then chain 2, because we have to get across these 2 double crochets. Double crochet into the chain 1 space. Chain 1, skipping the first 3 double crochets, going into that 4th with 3 double crochets. And then the next one, going into that next double crochet with 3 double crochets. Like so. Okay, chain 1, go into the next chain 1 space with a double crochet. Chain 2, because we need to go over these 2 double crochets. Double crochet into the next chain 1 space. Chain 1, and then, now I know this can be a little bit tricky, especially because we just started, but into this last double crochet, figuratively speaking, into the top chain right here, right in there, 3 double crochets. That's 1 and 2 and 3. Alrighty, so as you can see, our sides are shrinking a bit. The pagodas are going up yet shrinking. All right, and same thing on this side. All right, so that's the end of row 2. Alrighty, onwards to row 3. So to begin with, chain up 3. 1, 2, 3. And that's going to count, of course, as our first double crochet. And then into this first double crochet right here, 1 double crochet stitch. Again, stressing the point, we went from 4 to 3, now we've got 2. Okay, so chain 1, double crochet into the first chain 1 space. Okay. Chain 1, and we have our chain 2 space here, so 2 double crochets into the chain 2 space. And 2 right into that space. Chain 1. Okay. Double crochet into the next chain 1 space. Chain 1. All right. Then we need to shrink this down again. So to do that, it's going to be skipping the first 2 double crochets, going into that third with 2 double crochets into the same stitch, and then into the next double crochet, which is the second cluster of 3, that first one, 2 double crochets. There we go. So again, keeping in mind, we went from 8 to 6, down to 4. Okay, chain 1, double crochet into the next chain 1 space, chain 1, 2 double crochets into the chain 2 space. And the reason why I stress certain things about the numbers is because then, after a certain point, you don't need to think about where you're at within the pattern. You can just look at where you're at and be like, oh, I need to do this for this row. You know. All right, so then chain 1, double crochet to the next chain 1 space, chain 1, skip the first 2 double crochets going into that third with 2 double crochets, and then into the next double crochet stitch, 2 double crochets. It's all really a matter of trying to make it as easy as possible for you guys to be able to, figure out where you are within the pattern, and that way you won't need to, keep watching this over and over and over. You can just get it after a while. That is my hope. That is my goal. All right, so after doing those, chain 1, and then into the next chain 1 space, a double crochet, chain 1, into the chain 2 space, 2 double crochets, chain 1, into the next chain 1 space, a double crochet, chain 1, and then into the last of these 3 double crochets. It can be a little tricky to see them here, but yeah, into the last of the 3, the one right on the end here, going into that top stitch of the last double crochet there, 2 double crochets. That's 1 and 2. Ta-da! All right, so again, things are progressing rather nicely. It's so pretty. All right, so that's the end of row 3. All right, row 4. Now things with this row, the beginning of this row, it's a little bit different, just a smidge. So instead of chaining up 3, we need to start by chaining up 4. Because 1, 2, 3, 4, because this chaining of 4 acts as a double crochet and a chain 1. So like I said, 4, 3, 2, well, this counts as 1. The chain 1 gets us to this next chain 1 space where we need to do a double crochet into that space. So it's still tapering this way, and this still counts as a double. So it's a double and a chain 1, and then a double crochet into that chain 1 space. So that's, the only real significant difference as far as, starting off. It's always on row 4. All right, so then chain 1, double crochet into the next chain 1 space, and we need to get over this 2 double cluster, so chain 2, double crochet into the next chain 1 space, chain 1, double crochet into the next chain 1 space, chain 1, and then in the very center, so skipping the first double crochet, going into the second with a double crochet, and a double crochet into the next. So it's a pair of 2 right there. Then chain 1, double crochet into the next chain 1 space, chain 1, double crochet into the next chain 1 space, chain 2, because we need to go over these 2 doubles, then double crochet into the next chain 1 space, chain 1, double crochet into the next chain 1 space, chain 1, skipping the first double crochet, going into the second with a double crochet, and then one into the next, like so. Chain one, double crochet into the next chain one space, chain one, double into the next chain one space, chain two, because we need to get over the 2 double crochets here, double crochet into the next chain one space, chain one, double crochet into the next chain one space, chain one, and double crochet into the last top double crochet right there. Da, 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 da. It's so pretty. And that's the end of row 4. Alrighty, row 5. And this is actually the last row. And then I'm going to do a full repeat for you, of course, naturally. All right, so now basically we've come full circle, because for row 5, chain up 3, turn the work, and I'll show you what I mean by we've come full circle, into this first double crochet right here, 3 double crochets into that first stitch. So that's 1, 2, and 3, just like down here we had a total of 4, right? So now we have a total of 4 right up here. Okay. Then chain 1, and we're going to skip the 2 chain 1 spaces here and here, so skipping these 2, then into the chain 2 space right here, 2 double crochets. That's 1 and 2, chain 1, and then into these 2 double crochets into that first one, 4 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, and whoops, had 3, and 4, and then into the next double crochet, 4 double crochets. There we go. I think I counted right, yes. So we've got our grouping of 4 and 4, yes, just like we did down here. So like I said, it comes full circle. Okay, so then, all right, chain 1, skipping this chain 1 space and this chain 1 space, going into the chain 2 space with 2 double crochets. There we go. Chain 1, skipping the next chain 1 spaces, 1 in here and there, going into these 2 double crochets, 4 double crochets into each of these 2, just like we just did. That's 2, 3, and 4, and then 4 into the next. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Chain 1, skip the next 2 chain 1 spaces here and here, going into the next chain 2 space with 2 double crochets. like so, chain 1, and skipping this space and this space, going into the last double crochet. Now, I know this can be a little bit weird and daunting, but basically all you really need to do is, so you can see, we have our double crochet right here, then we have a chain 1, and then we have our double crochet. Or another way of looking at it is we have chain 1, 2, and into the third from the bottom. That's another way of going about it. And doing a double crochet into here along with 3 more for a total of 4. Now, this looks a little bit more secure. However, you could quite conceivably just go into the chain 4 space. You don't necessarily need to go into the stitch. Either way, I mean, this is a little bit tight and difficult, so just as easy as going into that third chain from the bottom, you can also, which I'm going to show you now, is just go into the chain 4 space with 4 double crochets. I'm not judging, believe you me. If you can get the same look and go about it in an easier way, I say more power to you. Just scooch those over a little bit, and boom, you've got your 4 double crochets right there and right there. I mean, they're a bit more together if you did them all into that same stitch, or you could do them like this. Really, whatever works for you, okay? So either way, this is actually the full beginning of the pagoda stitch. Now, the repeat, it's rows 2 through 5, and you would end on a row 5, which we just did, because it gives it this nice arched sort of canopy feel to it. All right, and so I'm going to do a full repeat for you because I really do want to make sure that you guys do understand what it is that I'm doing. I like to be thorough for you. Okay, so without further ado, let's get on with the repeat. All right. Alrighty, now for the full repeat, because I adore you guys just like I do. So beginning again with row 2. So starting, of course, by chaining up 3. 1, 2, 3. Turn the work. And again, going from a total of 4 down to 3, we need to do 2 double crochets into the first stitch. So we've got a total of 3 now. Chain 1, double crochet into the chain 1 space. And we've got 2 doubles, so chain 2 to go over them. Double crochet into the chain 1 space. Chain 1. And so we have our grouping of 4, so skipping the first 3, going into the 4th with 3 double crochets. That's 1, 2, and 3. And then 3 double crochets into the next double crochet. 1, 2, and 3. Chain 1, double crochet into the next chain 1 space. And we have to get over 2 double crochets, so chain 2, double crochet into the next chain 1 space. Chain 1, and in this next 4 cluster, skipping the first 3 double crochets, going into that 4th double crochet with 3 double crochets. That's 1, 2, and 3. 3 double crochets into the next double crochet. 2, and 3, chain 1, double crochet into the next chain 1 space, and going over these 2 doubles, we need to chain 2, double crochet into the next chain 1 space, chain 1, and then into the last double crochet of these 4, which is this chaining up here, into that last double crochet right there, the 3rd chain from the bottom, 3 double crochets. That's 1 and hello, 2 and 3. There we go. Alrighty, and that is the end of the repeat of row 2. Okay. Alrighty, row 3. So start by chaining up 3. 1, 2, and 3. Turn the work. And into the first double crochet right here. Just 1 double crochet. Again, going from 4 to 3 down to 2. Chain 1, double crochet into the chain 1 space. Chain 1. We've got a chain 2 space, so 2 double crochets. Like so. Chain 1, double crochet into the chain 1 space, chain 1. All right, so now we've got 2 groupings of 3. So skipping the first 2 double crochets, going into that 3rd with 2 double crochets and 2 double crochets into the next double crochet. So again, going from 8 to 6 down to 4, okay. Chain 1, double crochet into the next chain 1 space, chain 1, into this chain 2 space, 2 double crochets. Oops. There we go. Chain 1, double crochet into the next chain 1 space, chain 1. Okay, we've got our 2 groupings of 3, so into the 3rd double crochet, 1, 2, and 3. Into that 3rd double crochet, 2 double crochets, 1 and 2, and then 2 double crochets into the next, 1 and 2. All right, chain 1, double crochet into the next chain 1 space, chain 1, got a chain 2 space, so 2 double crochets into the chain 2 space, chain 1, double crochet into the next chain 1 space, chain 1, and into the last double crochet at the end here, right there, 2 double crochets. All right, and that's the end of row 3. So as you can see, things are progressing rather nicely. Okie dokie. All right, onwards to row 4. Now, like I said, row 4, it's a little bit different, but there is a way that you can remember it is row 4, and you start by chaining 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4, because we had 2 double crochets. Now we just need 1, so this chaining of 4 counts as a double crochet and a chaining of 1. Turn that work. Double crochet into the chain 1 space, chain 1, double crochet into the next chain 1 space. Gotta go over this pair, so chain 2, double crochet into the next chain 1 space, chain 1, double crochet into the next chain 1 space, chain 1. Okay, and skipping that first one, going into the second double crochet with a double crochet, and 1 into the next double crochet. From 8 to 6 to 4 down to 2. All right, chain 1, double crochet into the next chain 1 space, chain 1, double crochet into the next chain 1 space, chain 2, because we need to go over these 2 doubles, double crochet into the next chain 1 space, chain 1, double crochet into the next chain 1 space, chain 1, skipping the first double crochet, and then into the next double crochet, 1 double crochet, and then 1 double crochet. So we've got a pairing of 2 right there. Chain 1, double crochet into the next chain 1 space, and chain 1, double crochet into the next chain 1 space, chain 2, because we have to go over these 2 double crochets, double crochet into the next chain 1 space, chain 1, double crochet into the next chain 1 space, chain 1, and into this last double crochet right here, like so, another double crochet. Ta-da! Right, and that's the end of row 4. Okie dokie. Alrighty, row 5, last one for the repeat. And this is the row that you would end on when you're finishing your piece. So starting by chaining up 3, 1, 2, and 3. Turn your work. And into the first double crochet stitch right here, 3 doubles, 1 and 2 and 3, chain 1, skip the chain 1 space here and here, going into the chain 2 space with 2 double crochets, chain 1, and then skipping the next 2 chain 1 spaces here and here, going into this pair here. Okay, 4 double crochets into each. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then 4 into the next. 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, so again, comes full circle, and we had our 8 down here, got our 8 up here. All right, chain 1, skipping this chain 1 space and this one, going into the chain 2 space with 2 double crochets, 1 and 2, chain 1, skipping the next two chain 1 spaces here and here, going into these 2 double crochets at the top of our pagoda, 4 double crochets into each of those 2. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. 4 in the next. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Chain 1. Skipping the next 2 chain 1 spaces here and here, going into the next chain 2 space with 2 double crochets. Chain 1. And skip the next 2 chain spaces here and here, going into the very last double crochet, right into that chain right there, that third one up. Total of 4 double crochets, or going into the chain space. Either way is fine. 2, 3, and 4. Okay. Da 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 da! It's so pretty. Love it. All right, and let me give you a nice view of what you can do. There we go. It's so pretty. Also reminds me of wedding cakes, how they're tiered. Absolutely gorgeous. Also, I did think, that this particular pattern would lend itself very nicely, perhaps using Caron Cake Simply Soft in their really brilliant red color. I don't know, it just screams at me. Or if you could find, if you can work with, say, crochet cotton, in a really, really fine mercerized cotton, this would make a lovely curtain. I really think so. So listen, I really hope that you enjoyed this tutorial as always. And if you did, please hit that little thumbs up button down below, because I really do appreciate your appreciation. And, I would love to hear your comments and everything, of course, as always. And if you haven't hit subscribe, please do so, because I do try to post as often as I can, whether it is crocheting tutorials, knitting tutorials, audiobook narrations, or on my other YouTube channel, Fiber Spider Games. I do narration and games and Let's Plays for various video games, which is a ton of fun. And so I do try to post as often as I can. So listen, until next time, I want you all to stay inspired, stay caffeinated, and above all, stay stitching. I love you guys, and I will see you in my next video. Bye for now.